November 11th, 2025. It's that time once again for your Daily Torment Report. I'm your host, Watchful, and we're going to jump right into Donald Trump. So this is where we picked up yesterday. Um, let's see. It was an honor to spend time with Ahmed Hussein al-Shara, the new president of Syria, where we discussed all the intricacies of peace in the Middle East, of which he is a major advocate. I look forward to meeting and speaking again. Everyone is talking about the great miracle that is taking place in the Middle East. Having a stable and successful Syria is very important to all countries in the region, which hopefully he does a good job. He's a new president there. He's working with Trump. That's a good start, right? Anyway, that's where we left off. Let's pick up here. So I'm in a different browser today so that we can actually open up these links. So this one, let's jump into this because there's a bunch of these. He reposted a bunch of these, and it's worth going into some of them. The Obamacare secret at the heart of the shutdown. Insurers made billions at taxpayer expense. The 42-day federal shutdown forced by Democrats thrust the economics of Obamacare into the limelight and exposed an uncomfortable truth. An insurance industry whose executives are increasingly liberal donors has seen its earnings soar with the injection of taxpayer-funded subsidies that propped up Barack Obama's signature health program from collapse. The nation's largest insurance companies have seen good business since Obamacare was first passed in 2010 and fully implemented in 2014. This has come in no small part because of the federal government subsidies to the insurance industry, which government estimates show totaled $1.8 trillion in 2023 alone. Jeez. Those subsidies were greatly expanded by the Biden administration during the COVID-19 pandemic as an emergency measure. Makes sense. But Democrats have fought to keep them permanent. Just the news analysis of public financial records from four of the nation's largest health insurance companies found that the net earnings ballooned about 216% from 2010 to 2024. United Health Group, in particular, which dominates the industry with a market share of around 15%, saw the largest explosion of profits. The other three companies, Elevance, Centene, and Cigna, also experienced a marked growth in net earnings after the implementation of Obamacare. The healthcare legislation was also a boon for these companies. Okay, so basically, they made a ton of money. Yeah. Interesting that this is coming to the forefront, but I guess it's to be expected considering this is the reason why the Democrats were shutting down the government in the first place, is because they wanted money to give to I'm imagining they wanted to give money to the health insurance as well as the illegal immigrants. Maybe to health insurance for illegal immigrants. I don't know. But it's interesting that it's come up during this shutdown. All right. The U.S. Supreme Court was given the wrong numbers. The unwind in the event of a negative decision on tariffs would be, including investments made, to be made and return of funds in excess of $3 trillion. It would not be possible to ever make up that kind of drubbing. That would truly become an insurmountable national security event and devastating to the future of our country, possibly non-sustainable. That's very interesting. I can't imagine why they would even do that to America after seeing what he was able to do with tariffs. So, watching that closely, I think this is an ad. The Miracle Mile Shopping Center in Chicago, once considered our nation's best, now has more than 28% vacancy factor and is ready to call it quits unless something is done about the murder and crime, which is prevalent throughout the city. Call in the troops fast before it's too late. Just the news. All right, this is a Truth Social post. Let's watch this video. Let's see, what does it say? Elon Musk has been dropping major truths like this one. This is horrible. Elon Musk talks about the homelessness industrial complex where NGOs in California receive billions of dollars to keep people homeless. Nearly 1 million per homeless person per year. That's insanity. It's not clear how to turn this off. It's a self-licking ice cream cone. They get this money. Oh, so this is quotes from what he says, so we might as well just watch the video here. Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. I did watch this in the interview, and all of the things that happened to the Biden during the Biden administration seem to be coming to the light now, and it's just getting worse and worse. What happened during that period of time?
And San Francisco has got this tax, this gross receipts tax, which it's not even on revenue; it's on all transactions, which is why Stripe and Square and a whole bunch of financial companies had to move out of San Francisco because it wasn't a tax on revenue; it's a tax on transactions. So if you do trillions of dollars transactions, it's not revenue. You're taxed on any money going through the system in San Francisco. Like Jack Dorsey pointed this out, and they said look, that they had to move Square from San Francisco to Oakland, I think. Stripe had to move from San Francisco to South San Francisco, a different city. And that money goes to the homeless industrial complex, that tax that was passed. So there's billions of dollars that go, as you pointed out, billions of dollars every year that go to these non-governmental organizations that are funded by the state. It's not clear how to turn this off. It's a self-licking ice cream cone situation. They get this money. The money is proportionate to the number of homeless people or number of drug zombies, essentially. So they try to keep that. They try to actually increase because that in some cases it's somebody did an analysis when you add up all the money that's flowing. They're getting close to $1 million per homeless per drug zombie.
Wow.
It's like $900,000, something like some crazy amount of money is going to these organizations. So so they want to keep people just barely alive. They need to keep them in the area so they get the revenue. So that's why, like I said, they don't arrest the drug dealers because otherwise the drug zombies would leave. But they don't want to have too much. If they get too much drugs, then they die. So they're kept in this sort of perpetual zone of being addicted, but just barely alive.
So how is this coordinated with like DAs that don't prosecute people?
Yeah.
So when they hire or they push, so they fund the campaigns of the most progressive, most out there left-wing DAs. They get them into office.
We've got that issue in Austin too, by the way.
Yes, we
do.
do.
You see that guy that got shot in the library?
No,
I
heard about
a guy
it.
got shot and killed in the library. I think that was just like last week or something.
Right.
So is this why these weird governors and mayors are making the cities like drug zones? I don't want to say drug free because they're encouraging drugs. So all drugs are legal. Man, there's a guy on X who, let me see if I can find his posts. It's like Dahlgren. Let me see if I can find him. He's usually posting about what's going on in Portland. And it's just really just, man, you could just sit here and scroll through x.com and just see how we're living in the tribulation. It's hard to believe people don't think we're living in the tribulation. Just scroll through X. Oh my Lord. Let me see if I can find. Let me search for him. Dahlgren? I might not be following him on this account. I just watched Kevin Dahlgren. That's who it is. This guy. He walks the streets of Portland and shows you like this is you saw those videos of the governor and the mayor saying Portland is like beautiful, and they were showing pictures from select areas in the city. This is literally what the city looks like. When we drive down and go through Portland, this is what we see. Yeah, so they've made drugs free and illegal. I don't know about free, but they've made them legal so that there's ready access to them. Which I'm curious on the effect that Donald Trump has had on these cities that provide the drugs for people. But they're literally encouraging this stuff. Isn't that terrible? Some of these we can't even show on here because it's just heartbreaking with what people are doing. Here's one of the cities. These are people just like, this is what we see when we drive down through Portland. It's just terrible. Apparently they're getting paid. The motivation is that these cities, apparently via some taxes, $1 million per homeless person. Such atrocities. Wow. Anyway, let's go back. Get back to Donald Trump's timeline here. What do we have here? Yeah, there's death. From what I understand, there are deaths daily from fentanyl. Nothing is more dangerous than an insane, mortally wounded animal. When Obama just said that the country may not survive the Trump presidency, what he was really saying was our treasonous coup will not survive the Trump presidency. Obama is running around trying to shore up his fellow insurrectionists, traitors, because he knows better than anyone what treasonous crimes have been committed by him and his cronies. Democrats are in an all-out anything-goes battle for survival. They are exposed and mortally wounded, and there's nothing more dangerous than an insane, mortally wounded animal. This is... If President Trump can be impeached and indicted for the fake Russian collusion story, then Barack Obama should go to prison for creating it. Yeah. Yes, sir. Governor Newsom's decision to close the Barstow Veterans Home with an annual budget of $22 million and spend $150 million for cash disbursements to illegal immigrants right before Memorial Day is one of the single most disgusting acts ever made by a sitting American politician. That is disgusting. It's clear whose side Newsom's on. Utterly disgusting. What do we have here? Tyrus has the whole scam figured out. Oh, I like Tyrus.
Tyrus, what do you make of this? Is this some cognitive dissonance, or are they just lying?
No, I think we're all being silly by saying those things out loud. This is just act two of what we saw during Trump's first term. First term, they tried to do it politically with impeachments and dossiers and stories, and the exact opposite happened. It made Trump a martyr. They tried to legally arrest him for bull, and it didn't work. But what they did was that on the second time around, they're now going after a certain population of people. The reason why you say, well, we can prove it. At what point in the last 10 years have we been seeing this where they've ever come back and said, we were wrong about Russia, or we didn't say that? That's not the reason why they're saying it. They're not saying it for rational people to question it. They're saying for people who just read a headline. He's Hitler. So then they go look and click. Now you see ICE agents trying to do their job and civilians trying to stop them because they're like Gestapo. So you have that. Now you have those riots. And with the government shutdown, the Democrats are not, and no time soon do they want it back because they're going to get the second part of their faith where you're going to have the people who are not getting welfare checks, people who are no longer getting the WHIP programs, all the stuff. What do you think the worst of that group's going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to loot stores. So you're going to have anarchy in the street. You have an undersized police force. You have ICE and the National Guard dealing with immigration. So then pretty soon, you're going to have to do what? National Guard is going to have to deal with just keeping people safe on the street because where in the two biggest cities, New York and California, you're going to have complete unrest. That's their plan. His presidency will in fires, and eventually it doesn't matter what's next because they will ruin his second term with everybody fighting in the streets, and that's all they're going to see. So they don't have to say, oh, I didn't mean to call him Hitler. They've already done it. They've already convinced. Oh, if you convince 5 million people in this country that somebody's Hitler, you can destroy cities with that.
Yeah.
Look what happened in Minnesota. They are running their plan. There's no government. The government shutdown. This is Trump shutdown. They can't stop him because if they worked with him, he would have one of the most successful presidencies in history. So that means what? An easy way for Vance or Rubio or whomever chooses to run the Republican Party? No. So they will destroy it from the ground up with the lower part of our society, unfortunately.
That's a gloomy.
He ain't wrong. And we can see where this is going. This is what's interesting about this is we're in the unique position. If we have the timeline right, we're in a unique position to know how this goes, to know what's next, and know what's coming after all of this. Thankfully, we know what comes after this because we don't have to be afraid. But can you imagine the people who are just living through this and, those who don't have God, those who don't have an understanding of the end time events who are just living through this stuff? I can see why people would be afraid for the things that are coming on the world, things that are coming on the earth. I could see why they would be afraid. Hopefully we can reach those people, and which I know we will. Those who will hear will find God and find the messages that they need to hear. All right, what do we got here? Nothing about this a-hole was ever real. I want every mention of him being president to have to feature an asterisk leading to a footnote which says contended or awaiting legal verification or something. Barack Obama, a man using a different name, swore on a Bible he doesn't believe in, and betrayed a country he wasn't born in. These are reposts from Trump, by the way. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. He did a lot of reposting today. He didn't do a lot of other talking posts, so I thought it'd be fun to go through these, and some of them were on Truth Social, and they're all really good. Here's the Second Amendment explained. So this is with guns, strong woman, strong free woman, well armed, without weapons, women who are chained up and covered from head to toe. That's about right. Racism in America was almost dead because we were united in ridiculing racists and their beliefs. Then these two showed up and set America back 100 years. True that. Man, Michelle Obama looks terrible in that picture. Well, yeah. Yep. Let's see. Feds. More than 7,200 truck drivers have been removed from U.S. highways after failing English tests. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, not exactly the people you want driving large trucks that could be full of Lord knows what. Chris Wray had 13% of all FBI employees working on January 6 cases, 5,000 out of 38,000, hunting people down all over America that were just in D.C. on January 6. but he couldn't identify the pipe bomber that lived and worked in D.C. It was an inside job, and this was treasonous. My understanding is they actually were able to identify the pipe bomber using gate detection, which is something that I've actually talked about on here before because we use it in one of the places where I work, to where the way you walk is as unique as your fingerprint. And if you've ever been caught walking on a camera, which I guarantee you have, then it's possible to find that fingerprint. And using that technology, they were able to identify the pipe bomber. Now, there's speculation on if it's really the pipe bomber, but, that's beside the point that I'm making. All right. It was not that long ago and was once coupled with the Lord's Prayer. Who is old enough to remember doing this every morning? I do. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You guys remember that? I remember that. Want some 100% accuracy? Then take 17 minutes to listen to, the real shutdown story. All right, let's listen to it. What is it?
President Trump did something absolutely brilliant this weekend. His weapon? A series of true social posts that completely changed the government shutdown narrative. And I'm going to show you exactly how he did it, starting with Senator Mark Wayne Mullen discussing it yesterday.
The president said this morning, I'm recommending to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over.
Absolutely brilliant move by the president, and I agree with him 100%. These insurance companies, we're subsidizing them to have high health premiums anyways. Keep in mind, ACA, affordable health care, has not been affordable. President Obama said it was going to drop premiums by 25%. As we sit here right now, without the premium increase that the health care industry is putting on the American people, it's up 221%. And why are we subsidizing them an additional 4% when they're making record profits? Which I'm a capitalist. I'm okay with insurance companies making money, but taxpayers shouldn't pad their pockets even more on top of that. What President Trump is saying is, hey, let's give the money to the individual and let them choose their own health care and use the money for actual health care rather making insurance companies even more profitable. I think it's brilliant.
Now, if you've been watching the mainstream media, you'd think the Republican Party is, quote, in a new civil war. They're claiming the ultimate battle came when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes. Every major media outlet pushed that talking point Saturday. But here's what they're not telling you. The Republican Party has been in a civil war ever since Donald Trump walked down the escalator in 2015.
True.
It's between rhinos and the new Republican Party. This isn't news. What is news is that Trump just exposed the biggest lie Democrats have been selling for weeks, that we're protecting the little guy by holding out for Obamacare subsidies in the shutdown. I'm Barbara Boyd, and I've been studying American system economics, the economic framework Trump is using, since we rediscovered these ideas in the 1970s. I've also reported extensively on the British instigated coup against President Trump since it began in 2016. Today, I'm going to report on two interrelated stories. First, how Trump's economic offensive this weekend kicked senators and congressmen into line to fight for the policies you voted for in November. And second, I'm giving you a major update on the fight against the deep state, where the walls are finally closing in on the real conspirators. You'll see that even the BBC, the crown jewel of British propaganda, is taking a big hit. So buckle up and please like and share this video right now. It helps us build our audience to the size we need to win this fight. Here again is what I thought was the president's killer True Social post. Democrats claim to be working for the little guy and driving down your health insurance. But the Obamacare scam goes straight to their best friends in the insurance industry. They are making a killing, while health coverage only gets worse. If Democrats get their way again, they're in for another huge payday at the expense of the American people. No deal. Republicans should give money directly to your personal health savings accounts that I expanded in our great, big, beautiful bill. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Throughout the last month, old school Republican candidates mostly hid as Democrats attacked Trump's affordability crisis. Inflation is way down, but it's not fully cured.
Nope.
Instead of telling the truth and supporting Trump's tariff-based rebuild of the U.S. economy, the Republican Party's losers campaigned on the wedged social issue of 4 years running: boys and girls' bathrooms and sports. That when people are having a hard time making ends meet. That's why it was refreshing to see Senator Mark Wayne Mullen respond to Marjorie Taylor Greene's complaint that the White House isn't giving the cost of living any attention it's deserved. Let's listen to his answer.
I don't know if I agree with that. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think she's great, but I don't know what she's talking about. Walmart just came out and said that grocery prices are down over 20% this time last year. They said Thanksgiving, and that was the CEO of Walmart. Amazon said that the trinkets, the things you were buying last year for Christmas, are down. We have inflation that was at a high of 9.1%, average of 5% underneath Biden. Today it's hovering around 2.5%. Energy prices are down, the lowest they've been since President Trump was last in office. And we know energy is the backbone of inflation. You can't make a product, you can't deliver a product without factoring the energy costs into it. So prices are down. What is up is protein, which is a lot of people, protein meaning pork, chicken, and beef. The president made a huge step at that the other day. If you saw the Truth Social post, he said he's going to look at the meat packers because the meat packing industry is consolidated, and 3 of the top 4 meat packers are foreign owned. 2 of them.
I'd mentioned that I was going to talk to a meat packer friend of mine. We didn't have the opportunity to actually talk to him. We delivered the chickens, and then they weren't available to talk. So I'm curious if anybody has any inside information on what you're experiencing. If you what's going on with the meat market.
Out of Brazil, one of them in China. That's a national security issue. Plus, the difference between what we sell, I'm a rancher myself, what we sell cattle for, what we call in the hoof or feed cattle, and what the retail is, there's such a huge gap. It's the biggest gap we see in any industry from a product being made to the product of retail. That's where the president's focus is.
Senator Mullen just talked about the other great idea the president put out, going after the big 4 meat processing cartels who have made meat a luxury item. Now the Justice Department has been tasked to investigate and remedy that. Senate Republicans let Democrats lie for weeks that providing billions in continuing subsidies to Americans added to Obamacare during COVID was somehow a righteous necessity. Trump turned that completely around by showing that the only people who benefit from this are the rapacious Wall Street and London insurance companies. Health insurers' profits have jumped 230% since the Unaffordable Care Act passed. Now the shutdown has started to be solved, and there is a big opportunity to fix the mess, which is Obamacare. Trump has already aimed at the root causes of spiraling costs through Maha's attack on chronic disease and regulatory capture by Big Pharma. The president took another step last week in bringing prescription drug prices down with his agreement on GLP-1 drug pricing. Similar moves are underway with other costly drugs. Now we need to find ways to get Wall Street out of running medical practices and hospitals. And we also need a whole lot more doctors and nurses. Otherwise, Treasury Secretary Bessent provided an accurate account yesterday of where inflation stands with Trump as opposed to Biden after just 10 months. Let's hear him out.
What we're not going to do is what happened under the Biden administration, where the administration and the media gaslit everyone and said, "Oh, there's a vibe session. You don't understand how good you had it." And what happened then was we had the worst inflation 40 or 50 years, 22, 23%. But the basket of goods and services for working Americans was up more than 30%. And what we're seeing is we had to stop the increase first. Now we are starting to see prices level off, come down. Gasoline is down, interest rates are down, so mortgages are down, and I think we are making substantial progress on that. And I think over the coming months and the next year, prices are going to come down.
As we build new plants and equipment and bring supply chains home with Trump's tariff and trade policies, Trump's focus is on skilled jobs with high wages for workers. Secretary Bessent has repeatedly said that they're aiming for wage levels which can outpace any inflation. Now, the simplest definition of inflation I've ever found is too much money chasing too few productive goods. The cure is to build and change the entire equation with productive jobs. Not only that, building out the economy of the future changes human identities in ways completely opposite to the pessimism and despair which the low-wage gig economy breeds. We can tell you the real story because we focus on dynamics and facts rather than manufactured outrage. That is critical as we head into the crucial midterms. If you haven't already, become a subscriber to our news and the first Trump presidency. Subpoena recipients include John Brennan, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page, among others, and I think they'll work their way up to Barack Hussein Obama. While that's great, I keep insisting that you have to start with the Brits when you're looking at the opening and continuation of this conspiracy against Donald Trump and the American people. A now infamous Guardian article admitted the whole deal. And like all good British intelligence regime change operations, particularly delicate ones like those against the United States, they were quick to tidy things up. After manufacturing dirt on Trump and illegally surveilling the Trump campaign, Robert Hannigan, who was then head of GCHQ, their NSA, resigned unexpectedly in January of 2017. He said he needed to spend time with his family. And after MI6 agent Christopher Steele peddled his fabricated dirty dossier on Trump and Russia, the lead British government security official, Sir Mike Lyle Grant, privately told the Trump White House that British intelligence did not find Christopher Steele trustworthy. That was after Sir Richard Dearlove, the former head of MI6, Sir Christopher Andrew, the Dean of British Intelligence History and the former British ambassador to Russia, and others claimed Steele was their golden boy on all things Russian. Now, there are hopeful signs that this cover-up is ending. First, the heads of the chief British propaganda arm, the BBC, just got canned because of what they did to Donald Trump just ahead of last November's election.
Right.
Seems they doctored a major BBC documentary about Trump just ahead of the election. They clipped film to make it seem the president told his supporters to storm the Capitol on January 6, 2021. BBC Director General Tim Davie and CEO Deborah Turnus announced their resignations yesterday. They didn't just resign, they got canned. It follows the Daily Telegraph getting its hands on internal BBC documents from whistleblowers about this episode. That's not all. It appears that the administration is targeting the top official for the Center for Countering Digital Hate, Imran Ahmad, for deportation from the U.S. That group has been the main British censorship arm here. It was founded by Morgan McSweeney, Keir Starmer's chief of staff. McSweeney, you might remember, turned up leading the British Labour Party team, which came to the U.S. to campaign for Kamala Harris and defeat Donald Trump. And because of Senators Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson, the walls are now closing in on former special counsel Jack Smith. Smith's wildly illegal Arctic Frost FBI investigation is now under the spotlight. Arctic Frost was aimed at nothing less than jailing Trump for life and destroying critical organizations within the entire Republican Party, all of it to be accomplished ahead of the 2024 presidential election on orders from Joe Biden. It's the last op, if you will, of the seditious conspiracy which began with Russiagate in 2015, 2016, and ended with the January 6, 2021 overthrow of our government. Smith not only commenced 2 bogus criminal prosecutions against Donald Trump, he issued 197 subpoenas to 34 individuals and 163 businesses. His fishing expedition included the unprecedented seizure of President Trump's official White House phone and call data from Republican senators and congressmen. The 197 subpoenas requested testimony, communications, and records related to at least 430 named Republican individuals and entities. Some of the records Smith subpoenaed from banks, individuals, and businesses included communications with media companies such as CBS, Fox News, Fox Business, Newsmax, Sinclair, and others. Communications with, quote, any member, employee, or agent of the legislative branch of the U.S. government. Communications with White House advisors such as Stephen Miller, Dan Scavino, Jared Kushner, Lara Trump, and others. Statistical data and analysis relating to donors and fundraising efforts. Broad financial data relating to conservative individuals and entities. You see, they wanted to take out the entire surviving apparatus of the Republican Party after Trump was in jail for life. These subpoenas were loftier kill shots. JP Morgan Chase, for example, was subpoenaed by Smith for financial records concerning Truth Social. Truth Social didn't exist in the post-2020 election period Smith was appointed to investigate, but it was a vital outlet for the Trump campaign in 2024. JP Morgan debanked Truth Social as a result of the subpoena and refused to tell Truth Social why.
I left Chase Bank. I'd banked with Chase Bank for 20 years. And as soon as they debanked Truth Social, I left and recommended anybody else leave too. I just don't trust a bank that can do that kind of thing.
Devin Nunes telling Maurice Bartiromo the story yesterday.
Well, when the Arctic Frost went after our bank records at Trump Media, that's inexplicable because we didn't exist. So what reason did they have to go after us? But I think furthermore, why did JP Morgan target us and not tell us? We're a Florida company. I mean, I can't believe this is not against Florida law, that it wouldn't be against federal law. But furthermore, during that time period, Maria, when we were a private company just going public, JP Morgan then debanked us at that time. Now, luckily enough, we had other banks in line, First Citizens, but right at the time that we were going public in early 2024, in the spring of 2024, right at the height of the campaign, we were trying to get our company that saved free speech, Truth Social, saving free speech, making sure that we all had a voice. At that time, JP Morgan inexplicably debanked us. And we need to know why that happened. You know, after discussing this with them for several months, going back and forth, it looked political at the time. But now we know that they were under subpoenas that they didn't tell us about as they were cooperating with the Biden Department of Justice.
So let's recap what we just reported. Trump has completely shifted the government shutdown game to where we might repair our disastrous healthcare system and other Wall Street games. At the same time, the City of London's longstanding conspiracy against Trump and the United States is finally taking big hits. These are the real dynamics in human history, not the media's manufactured controversies. We're on a drive to expand Promethean action into a major policy force ahead of the midterms. That starts with building out and expanding our subscriber base. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our newsletter now. I'll see you again on Thursday for our question and answer session with subscribers.
Well, that was a succinct report with a lot of information packed into just a few minutes. Yeah, it's great to see that Obamacare and I think everybody's being made aware at how disastrous that is. It's kind of been in the background for the last 5 or 6 years. Um, it kind of settled in there for a while. I had no idea so much money was being sent to Obamacare. And yesterday we found out that Obama himself has been profiting off of Obamacare. Plus, a lot of the details involved in the attacks in the Trump administration. I didn't realize all that stuff about Truth Social in the attacks and the debanking from Chase. I did know about the debanking from Chase. Like I said, that was when we left Chase because of those shenanigans that they were doing. So it looks like in the comments you guys have been talking about the meatpacking department. There's different laws that are preventing processing and selling the meat. I wonder if there's a way to bring surely that's going to come to Trump's attention if he's got his agricultural department investigating. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Almost done here. So Dan Patrick is a terrific and powerful lieutenant governor for the great state of Texas. This is an endorsement. Fortunately for the great state of Texas, their former speaker, who is no longer speaker, Dade Fallon, is quitting politics. He was the one responsible for killing every bill having to do with voter integrity and school choice. Good luck in your next life, Dade. I am proud to announce that Chicago, Illinois, despite all of the radical opposition and obstruction we have from the mayor and governor, has seen car theft, shootings, robberies, violent crime, and everything else drop dramatically since the launch of the DHS Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago only weeks ago. Shootings are down 35%, robberies are down 41%, and carjackings are almost 50%. And this is with just a small initial federal force, not the full surge we have done in Chicago and Memphis. As we ramp up more assets, these numbers will continue to drop. This has been achieved despite the extraordinary resistance from Chicago and Illinois radical Democrat leadership and the constant violent left-wing terrorism against ICE officers and federal agents that insurrectionist Democrat officials refuse to stop or prosecute, including constant physical assault and attempted assassination. Yeah. There's been shootings involved with police or with the ICE agents. You guys hear about that? There was a shooting. It was an illegal immigrant who had an arrest record, and why do these people do this? I don't understand. Was shooting at ICE agents. Yeah. Greg Abbott is the strong and highly respected governor of Texas, a state I love and one big. Yeah, okay. Endorsements. And we're done with Donald Trump. And I think we're all caught up on comments as well. Let's see. Are you saying that affecting meatpacking? Is this something we should be looking into? All right. So this is where we left off with Elon. This is more Grok stuff. Grok Imagine. Grok Imagine. What we got here?
No, you're all on X. It's home to hundreds of millions of users, a large contingent of independent journalists and news organizations across geographies and political spectrums. And at the same time, X remains the go-to platform for many legacy news outlets. And I know, as I mentioned, many of the reporters in this room use X to attract eyeballs to your work. We have John Stoll, who is the head of news at X. As you all know, you're all on X. It's home to hundreds of millions of users, a large contingent of independent journalists and news organizations across geographies and political spectrums. And at the same time, X remains the go-to platform for many legacy news outlets. And I know, as I mentioned, many of the reporters in this room use X to attract eyeballs to your work.
We have John Stoll, who is the head of news at X. As you all know, you're all on X. It's home to hundreds.
Yeah, it's on repeat. It's funny the way she's talking. I thought she was continuing to give more information. Yeah, X is a great place to be. I need to figure out how to grow our presence on X. I'm not very good with the social networks. I've been just the last couple of days been posting memes. Grok Imagine is so addictive. That is cool. Elon's Grok just got a file brain update. Now you can add files to Grok and it can reference them. Let's see. I've been a Tesla driver for nearly 10 years. I've driven nearly every Tesla model. Cybertruck is the best. I agree, and Elon agrees. The Cybertruck is very cool. It's the first truck with a ton of new technology. It's a 48-volt vehicle. It's bulletproof. It's a very comfortable ride, and the utility of it is amazing. We own a farm, and we use it constantly. Matter of fact, the first day we brought it home, we loaded it up with chickens. We got it dirty the day we got it. It was great. Tesla Model Y and 3 are officially the number 1 and number 2 best-selling EVs for September. Good for them. Let's see, probably this is the most undervalued company on NASDAQ, according to Warren Buffett. When Warren Buffett said, price is what you pay, value is what you get, he was describing companies exactly like NextRNG. Okie doke. Ford CEO Jim Farley in a new interview, I was very humbled when we took apart the first Tesla Model 3. When we took it apart, it was shocking what we found. Farley said Ford's Mustang Mach-E had around 1.6 kilometers more electrical wiring than the Tesla, adding weight to the car and requiring much bigger and more expensive battery. The teardowns convinced the company he had to change to match the new rivals. Farley said the rapid rise of China's EV companies means Fords can't afford to walk away from EVs. I can't imagine why they would want to. And I wonder if the Model 3s use the new 48-volt technology. If you think that's cool, you should take apart the Cybertruck. And I lost the posts. Hang on a minute. There's a bunch of new posts already. Where were we? What the heck happened here? Oh. Here, we just need his, just this one. That's why. We were looking at all the replies. We don't need to do that. Hang on. This one. This is pretty cool. Imagine when Grok does this in real time for an AI video game. Yeah, I imagine that's probably coming next year. They're already using AI in video games. Imagine what it'll be like to have this imagine what it'll be like to have content generated on demand. We're so close to having that. Having like TV shows, movies, and video games all generated on demand. What's the world going to be like when that is the case? All right, what do we got? Vitra, scalable vision language action model pertaining of, pre-training for robotic manipulation with real-life human activity videos. Why do I say that X is the best learning system the world has ever invented? This is a very technical paper on how world models, ERVLAs, make robots a lot smarter. Click the Grok button and ask, hey Grok, can you explain why this is important, like if I was a 9-year-old? Yeah. I don't want to read that. Records are meant to be broken. And that's what SpaceX did at 10:21 Eastern Time Monday when they launched the 94th rocket from the Space Coast so far this year. This was the view from Cocoa Beach as Falcon 9 rocket sent a batch of Starlink satellites to space. That's pretty cool. All right. Job offerings in Texas, bringing clean energy muscle to Brookshire. All right, this is good. I love this. I love Money Python.
I want to be a woman. What? I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta. What? It's my right as a man.
Well, why do you want to be Loretta, Stan?
I want to have babies. You want to have babies?
This was
It's every man's right to have babies if he wants them. But you can't have babies. Don't you oppress me. I'm not oppressing you, Stan. You haven't got a womb. Where's the fetus going to gestate? You're going to keep it in a box?
Here, I've got an idea. Suppose you agree that he can't actually have babies, not having a womb, which is nobody's fault, not even the Romans, but that he can have the right to have babies.
Good idea, Judith. We shall fight the oppressors for your right to have babies, brother. Sister, sorry. What's the point? What? What's the point of fighting for his right to have babies when he can't have babies? It is symbolic of our struggle against oppression. Symbolic of his struggle against reality.
Man, that was way before its time. Kind of makes you think like we're living in a simulation because that stuff is so prevalent today. Oh my goodness. I'd pray to watch a focus group of woke Dems watch and respond to this skit. Still one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Monty Python were truly ahead of their time. Okay, this is cool. Non pluribus castrati. So Grok. So Elon posted this because he wants people to click this button right here. Elon Musk's Latin phrase "non pluribus castrati" translates to "no more castrated men," evoking historical eunuchs while critiquing modern emasculation, either cultural or literal, via gender surgeries or on minors. Posted amid 2025 debates on demographic collapse and youth mental health, it echoes Musk's prior warning on low birth rates and over-medication, drawing 23,000 likes and replies, tying it to anti-woke resistance. High engagement quotes like Ian Miles Chung call for it as a law enforcement slogan against child mutilators. Highlights its role in amplifying conservative bioethics discussions on X. Yep. Now, how do I get back? Back button, maybe? There you go. If you have a mouse, you have to play this game. Oops, I didn't want to play this game. I think that's just an ad. Oh, it is an ad. Oh, man, they should not be able to make ads that look like posts. That's just deceptive. All right, if something isn't clear to you, just click the Grok button in the post itself. I didn't know what Elon said. Now I know. Tap the Grok logo on the upper right corner of any post to get an instant Grok analysis. And that's what we just did with the castrated men. What are the most important improvement? Okay, we don't need to read about that. All right, what's this?
Lilly, but you seem you did not come up through the science side of Eli Lilly, but you seem extremely comfortable with the science. What has been your method for ingesting all this stuff?
I don't know. Stay curious. Read.
Read what?
I read a lot of medical journals. I go to conferences where data is presented. I spend time with our scientists. Stay curious. Yeah. Now I have like at least 1 or 2 AIs running every minute of every meeting I'm in, and I just am asking it science questions.
Wait, so which one do you use for science?
I tend to use either Claude or the XAI. I find it more terse. The references actually check out more often. Sometimes the AIs produce references and they're actually not the thing that it said.
Yes.
And that takes too much work to go cross-reference.
So for an autodidact, presumably the emergence of LLMs has been transformative for you.
Yeah. Well, I think for learning, that's a whole other topic we could talk about. But you have to sort of question the pedagogical kind of method, period. Right? If you can just learn continuously.
It's mastery learning for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So you take advantage of that.
Yeah, mastery learning for everybody. I use Grok daily, constantly. Cool that David Ricks uses Grok as his daily AI advisor. Let's see. BXAI, literally founded in July of 2023. Absolute nobody in the AI space. Elon tweets, "We're going to build the world's most powerful AI training cluster." Entire industry laughs. 122 days later, 100,000 H100s go brrr in Memphis. Colossus is operational. Entire industry. Wait, what the F? Elon literally just buying every GPU that exists. Jensen Huang personally delivering them, wearing his leather jacket. Altman, no, Jensen, you can't let Elon out accelerate me. Speed to 1 gigawatt. AI Colossus, 2, 1 year. Amazon Anthropic, 1.9 years. OpenAI Stargate, 2.1 years. Microsoft, 3. And Meta Prometheus, 9 years. AI absolutely mogging the entire industry. It is so over. Yeah, Elon, when he decides to move, he's proven that he can move very fast. I don't know if you guys want to listen to this video. It's really interesting. It's a bunch of game CEOs with Elon talking about video games. I got through about half of it before the show. It's pretty interesting. Probably not something we want to watch on this show, but it kind of gives you a glimpse into Elon Musk's personal time, which is very rare. But he is a big gamer. He loves playing games. What else? Grok is growing fast.
I have to do it too, because I'll try to make like a.
Oh yeah, we can't we can't play this one on the air either. He's talking about trying to get around adult filters when generating images. I don't know why he posted that. I will say that Grok probably does the better job at preventing people from making adult content over other AI generators. Maybe that's why he posted it. All right, news. JD Power report show EV interest surging in the U.S. So not really, let's see, super good Starlink internet deal available in parts of the U.S. that are not already at full capacity. SpaceX has introduced a new, cheaper $40 per month Starlink plan with speeds up to 100 megabits. I wish that would come to my area. We don't have that in our area yet. Oh, this is that full. Dave Ricks has been on Eli Lilly for 20% of its 150-year history. Too long to listen to that. What else? Can't beat them. FSD saves lives. So it's whoa. Yeah, Teslas do that. It's one of the reasons why they're making it through the regulatory testing is because Tesla will take action to save your life. You don't really hear about that a lot, in social media and in the news. Typically what you hear is people talking about made up stories, or, anytime something bad happens to a Tesla, they blow it up and try and make it bigger than it really is. But per miles driven, if you look at the actual safety ratings on these things, per miles driven, I can't remember the factor safety. It's like a 10x, or it's between 2 and 10 times safer to drive a Tesla. And you can see right here that the car will literally dodge oncoming traffic. There you go. And the last pinned post, to paraphrase Voltaire, those who believe in absurdities can commit atrocities without ever thinking they're doing anything wrong. What would happen if there were an omnipotent AI that was trained to believe absurdities? Grok is the only AI that is laser focused on truth. Amen. Amen to that. All right, what do you guys have for comments? So this is yesterday's chat. I think I'm pretty well all caught up on your guys' chat. Still talking about meat. Cool. You guys have anything else you want to talk about before we go? Any other questions? Pretty short night. I like these nights. I like keeping it under an hour. It's less of a burden. Gives me a little bit more free time to actually go process the videos to repost them as clips. I'm trying to get into... I'm trying to find a workflow where I can actually produce the clips. Today I actually spent some extra time looking for software where I can just drag and drop the videos into the software to have it generate some clips. I know a lot of people on YouTube use something called Opus Clips, but I don't know. I might give that a try. I don't want to just do like YouTube shorts and TikToks. I want to actually like do like 20-minute, 10 like between 10 and 20-minute clips. Like I don't know if we want to do like I'd love to be able to like have AI analyze a video and pick out succinct sections that are worth people's time to actually watch. That way they don't have to watch like the full 1 to 3 hour videos that we do live. So maybe that's the goal. That's the objective, is how can we take this time and turn it into more content to reach more people. Kind of a mellow night tonight though. Talking about Islam and their influence on packing. Is that a thing? Does Islam really have a big influence on meat packing? First I'm hearing about this. What really bothers me is they kill camels, sheep, and cows. It is very disturbing to watch. Yeah, we have a farm, and we process our own animals. It's not a fun process. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I wasn't aware that Islam has any influence at all on our meat processing. I wonder if that is that boxed meat, maybe meat that we get from foreign companies. I live pretty far out in the country. Most of the meat that we get, I think, probably is butchered locally. EID is a sacrifice. Interesting. All right, everyone. Well, that's our torment report for the night. It is 11:11. I forgot to mention that when we started. It is 11:11. Which, if you guys don't know, I still see 11:11 all the time. It's not unusual for me to see 11:11 twice a day. For some reason, I look at my clock, 11:11 in the afternoon, and I look at it again at 11:11 at night. Just one of those weird things. No, it is to let them know that something is edible for them, just as in kosher. Interesting. All right. Well, cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. It's less eventful tonight, but things are happening. The government's not quite open, but they have the votes. Let's see what else. The Supreme Court, as far as I know, still hasn't decided on whether President Trump can use tariffs or not. He's making a pretty big deal about it if he's not allowed to use tariffs, which is just retarded if they make him, pay back the money and stop using tariffs, considering we've seen them bring peace to the entire world. That is just the most bizarre thing to happen. Elon Musk, hit on the transgender issues again tonight. And let's see what else. Safety of the vehicles, all under the umbrella of moving towards sustainable abundance. But that's pretty much it. That's our torment report. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'll see you again tomorrow at the same time, 5:30 p.m. Western and 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Shalom, shalom.